What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tunji's podcast. I am your host once again, Tunji Taylor Lewis, and I am here on it is Monday today, Monday, June 24th. Today is the day where they have the NBA awards on, and so I fully admit that as I'm doing this podcast, might be fully distracted by what's going on by the NBA awards here. Let me put it more in my eye line over here so that I can look over a little bit more easier. But so I'm watching it right now. We don't know who the MVP is yet. I don't think we know who the sixth man of the year is yet. But rookie of the year just went to Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. And the most improved player just went to Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. So shout out to them. As a Laker fan, is my Laker cap around here anywhere? There we go. Let me put this on right here, because I guess I just wanted you guys to see who the 2020 NBA champions are. It's just like so great to be like a fan of like just such a great franchise, and like, it's just so good to be so confident about like the fact, not the prediction, but the fact that we are going to be the 2020 NBA champions. Cause it's just like who's gonna stop us? Who's gonna stop Bron? Who's gonna stop Bron with Anthony Davis? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to stop it? How are you going to stop it? The Golden State Warriors are hobbled right now. Never wish that on anybody. But it is what it is. Who's going to stop us in the Western Conference? Portland? They got 2 point guards and that's it. Dame nice, but he needs some more help. Matter of fact, Dame should come on to the Lakers and come on and get some of this, championship pedigree. The Denver Nuggets with Jokic, that's a joke. Get it? Because his name is Jokic, so it's a joke that he's going to be in the Western Conference. That's a great ass joke. I don't care what anybody says about that. Who else is in the Western Conference, man? Like take your pick. We cannot be beat this year. Like, our talent is too sky high. And you know what the most important factor in all of this stuff is to me? People are coming at the Lakers organization for, how dysfunctional we've been. But if there's any one player who knows how to thrive in a franchise that is completely dysfunctional, it's LeBron James. Think about it. When he was with Cleveland, the owner had dogged him out, saying that he would never win a championship outside of Cleveland. He had already done that. They had a bunch of coaching changes. Kyrie was egotistical, wanted to be the man, but had to play second fiddle to LeBron. He didn't like that. Bunch of trades going on, bunch of changes, bunch of crazy stuff going on, and LeBron was still able to go to the finals every single year that he was there. So if there's ever one person who would know how to handle Magic Johnson leaving all of a sudden, Jason Kidd and Frank Vogel basically being co-coaches, freaking D'Angelo Russell might be coming on our team, so there's gonna be a bunch of dysfunction happening with that. The one person who can handle that is LeBron James. And also the thing that you gotta remember, because like when I was all happy about it on my Instagram, some haters were on my Insta talking about, oh well, AD and LeBron are gonna get tired. Tired where? LeBron didn't make it to the playoffs this year. He's been resting. You see him on IG smoking cigars, like he's getting his rest. AD has also been getting his rest because they sat him down once he requested a trade to the Lakers during the season. So both my All-Stars are getting plenty of rest. Plenty of rest. So we're going to be good when the season starts, and we're going to be good when the playoffs arrive. And you know how Bron gets, when the playoffs arrive. So I'm very, very happy about that. It's also just like interesting. It's just like so interesting how much like the times have changed, man, because like I remember back in like '07, '08, '09, 2010 when there was this whole Kobe Bryant, LeBron James controversy going around, and there's almost like this sentiment of like that was sort of like the last stage of like there being like real rivalries in the NBA, right? Like the Boston Celtics and the Lakers were in the finals. It was Kobe versus LeBron during those years. And like LeBron James really changed everything to where like like rivalries just like really don't exist anymore. Like we really do live in an NBA where like there's no there's no real issue with LeBron James, who was a rival to one of the Laker legends, quote unquote. It's completely appropriate for him to now join that team in like the later years of his career. Like that's totally fine. Like, and an even better example of that is like there was a bunch of talk of Kyrie Irving signing with the Lakers. Kyrie Irving was a Boston Celtic. Kyrie Irving spent the last 2 or 3 seasons as a Boston Celtic. And there were like legitimate discussions of him signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. That would never happen back in the day. Rajon Rondo played against the championship Lakers teams back in the day, and now he's on the Lakers now. That would never happen back in the day. Not during like Magic and Bird days. Not during like any era except for this one. And yeah, it's just like really, really interesting to see how much like LeBron has really changed the NBA to a league where like players are really empowered to do whatever the fuck they want to do, and I'm all here for it personally because you know um now their destinies aren't in the power of the media or owners or coaches or people who might want to mistreat them. They can do what's legitimately best for them. Like I feel like the fact that Kevin Durant was on the Golden State Warriors because he wanted to be there, he wanted to win a bunch of championships, is a great thing. Not necessarily because like for me, like I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't watch like the NBA finals the past 2 years because I knew exactly what was gonna happen. Like also I was on like my my theater hustle a little bit, so I wasn't watching a lot of sports during that time. But even so, even though like I wasn't watching it as much and I wasn't as interested or excited about it, I think like it's just like a really, really great thing that, because you have to like remember, man, like these, entertainers and these athletes, you know, stories get written about them that are just like completely untrue, and people can like paint a picture of you and people can start a narrative about you that's just like completely unfounded and can be proven false over and over and over again. But just because that's the thing that will get the most clicks, or that's the thing that will get the most reads on like like reviews or articles for like sports pages and stuff like that, this is the shit that media people are gonna write. And like my favorite athlete, my second favorite athlete of all time, Odell Beckham Jr., is the best example of that. Actually, both of my favorite athletes, Kobe Bryant and Odell Beckham Jr. I'll start with Kobe since we're already talking about the NBA. Like Kobe had the narrative about him for his entire career that he didn't pass, and like obviously it turned into a joke as well, but like that was the narrative about Kobe. It was like he was a selfish player. And it's like, dude, if Kobe was really as selfish as a lot of people made him out to be, he would not have 5 championships. You know what I'm saying? Like he would not have 5 championships. Like literally the highlight of his young career, one of the biggest highlights of his young career was when he lobbed up that alley-oop to Shaquille O'Neal in the Western Conference Finals in 2000, and that was like sort of the dagger that sent the Lakers to their first championship. And like a lot of like that sent the Lakers to their first championship in their three-peat of that era. That's literally the highlight of that time of Kobe's career, was him throwing up a lob, passing the ball to the more dominant scorer. Obviously, they're having some disagreements about like who should be the man and all that stuff, and like that's another story for another day. But like the narrative about Kobe, that he was a guy who refused to pass the ball and he was selfish, was just like completely exaggerated. And it was especially ridiculous going into like the later years of his career when he won back-to-back titles against the Orlando Magic and against the Boston Celtics. Oh shit, Kobe's right here on the. Here, let me see. Let's pull him up. He's talking about his daughters right now, I guess. All right. Anyways, I guess they have Baron Davis on here doing like parody interviews, but yeah, Kobe. Shout out to Kobe, man. Shout out to LeBron, who are like coaching their kids to becoming great athletes themselves, man. I'd imagine that'd be a really, really tough thing to do, is to, you know, get your kids to be just as driven and just as motivated, you know, in the sport that you were, you know, an all-time great in. But anyway, yeah, in the later years of Kobe's career, man, like he was like Kobe, he was scoring like 40, you know, 50 points, but he was also like making sure that Pau Gasol got his, and he was also making sure that Derek Fisher was getting his, and Lamar Odom, like he was making sure that everybody got theirs. And then basically during those times, man, he would just like take over in the third and fourth quarter. Like that's when he really turned it up. So, but so that's just to say that the fact that there is like such a thing as Instagram, and like, you know, LeBron is out here creating his own media companies, and he has, you know, shows like The Shop where he can just like talk about whatever he wants to talk about. And like, and you know, we're living in an era where athletes don't feel like they're being controlled by, you know, the media and owners and coaches and organizations to say exactly what they want to say all the time. I think that's amazing. And you know, I was just talking about Odell Beckham Jr., man. Like this guy, he gets treated so unfairly by, you know, sports analysts, because like it's just so easy to call this guy, you know, a selfish dude and a diva wide receiver, and like, you know, a guy who only cares about himself. And like it's so easy to do that, and that is going to be the stuff that gets the most clicks online, because like there's going to be super fans like me who are going to click on it to get mad at Shannon Sharp for saying the stuff that he's doing, and then people who like agree with that narrative are also going to click on it to, you know, say how much they agree. And yo, like, you know, Odell like had that one game against the Panthers where, you know, him and Josh Norman went at it. Nobody gave a shit about like what Josh Norman was doing during that game, because people expect that from Josh Norman, and he wasn't as big of a star. But because it's like Odell Beckham Jr. and he's like, you know, he at the time he was like the sweetheart of the league. He kind of like did something that shocked everybody, and now like people like refuse to forgive him for that time. But the crazy thing about it is like people call him selfish and a diva wide receiver, but they never referred to that Josh Norman moment, which is what the cause of that narrative was. They just kind of run with it just for the sake of running with it at this point, and it's pretty crazy. And that's one of my reservations about my dream, about being like a big time actor and having my own network and having a huge influence on people. It's just like getting to that place where, you know, people can say anything about you and people will believe it, because like it's just like more fun to believe, you know, a lie or like a scandalous fact about somebody. Like that's legitimately like one of my reservations about getting into the industry that I'm getting into and wanting to be as great in it as I want to be. You know, I would hope that I would be able to handle it pretty well. Oh, I think Lou Williams just won an award. Hold on. Sixth man? Hey, Lou Williams just won the Sixth Man of the Year.
I want to give a special shout out to my teammate Montrez. I just want to share this moment with him. It's extremely difficult to be a finalist, and not only that, to have your teammate be there with you. Put the volume up. I want to share this. With him. To Doc, L, Steve, for creating a culture that I can call home. I really appreciate you guys, all my teammates, for just respecting what I do and allowing me to do it at a high level. My family and my friends for being a great team, and just making my job easy to just go out and hoop. You know, so I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
That's dope. Let's go, Lou. Lou Williams of the Los Angeles Clippers, man. He gets buckets. That's why he's always going to have a spot on the team, is because he gets buckets. But Yeah, that's like maybe like my one reservation. And so like I've been doing a lot of work, personally, like to just like really, really, the eliminate my care for like what other people think, like anybody. And that's really tough for me because that is one of like the insecurities that I've had to deal with in my life is like, growing up in like, elementary school, like middle school, like being the only black kid or like being, like, somebody who actually took like the Christian lifestyle seriously or like being shy or whatever myriad of things that I naturally was. It always like kind of made me different from other people and like, I grew up, like not having the ability to naturally make friends as easily, so like that caused a lot of insecurities about like whether or not like people liked me or whether or not people wanted to be my friend and stuff. And so I can be really, really sensitive about people's people having people feeling like negatively towards me, especially if I know them personally or I know them a little bit or I've had an interaction with them. That's the only thing that gets me. Like if somebody has like a negative opinion of me and they don't know me and they've never met me before, then that's one thing. But like actually having an interaction with somebody and somebody maybe taking something the wrong way, or I say something that I said something that was interpreted let me try that sentence again. I say something that was interpreted the wrong way, or like I'm just like being myself and just people just say, what, I don't like that about him, which doesn't happen often, but like it happens every now and again because like you're not going to be able to please everybody. I am really sensitive to those negative to those negative opinions. And and then like obviously there are like the moments where I do slip up and I do like have a bad moment, and I gotta apologize from those, and like people don't want to forgive me for that, and like that haunts me. That's something that is difficult for me to reconcile and just like make peace with. And so I can imagine that if I want to become like the high profile person that I've always dreamed about being, that's going to be something that in this season that I'm in, as I'm like still growing, as I'm still evolving, that I make sure that I work on that and like just get myself to a place where like outside opinions of who I am as a person don't matter. Like the only opinions that I should be taken seriously are like, God for starts, my parents, my siblings, my girl, my friends who know me the best. Like those are the types of opinions that I'll take in, because those are people who actually know me and who have like been around me, and like those are the opinions that I'll take seriously as far as like who I am like as a human being. But all the other ones, man, like even acquaintances, even people that I'm cool with, like if they have like a negative opinion about me, and I didn't necessarily do anything to cause it. Like they just withdrew because they're like their insecurities or whatever they happen to be dealing with, or whatever, like whatever. Like sometimes I've started to deal with like jealousy, because like things are going well for me, I guess in social media, and I'm in a stable relationship, and like people kind of start to go sideways on you a little bit because of those things. And those experiences have definitely led me to becoming tougher, and definitely led me to just becoming like, what, don't I only need like the few core people who are like gonna be with me no matter what. And even if those people fall away, it's all good, because I got God at the end of the day, and God sustains me, and God is what keeps me going, and like it's the gift that He's given me that I pursue. And so there's always going to be something for me there in that regard. So yeah, man, just just putting my thoughts out there on the pod. Where we at now? 20 minutes. No, I can't stop it right here, man. I gotta give you some more. Let me see if I can think of something else to talk about. Yeah. I don't know. That might be it. Yep. I think that's it. I'm gonna keep watching this NBA award show. I love the fact that they are sort of copying the NFL and doing like a whole award show, and not just doing a little presentation in a conference room and like really making a big deal out of it. Predictions for who's gonna win the awards. Just because I'd like to see him win it, I'm gonna say Giannis. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is gonna win the MVP award. I want to see him win it. Coach of the Year, I think, should also go to the Milwaukee Bucks coach, whatever his name is, because they're very much improved this year. Let's see, they gave out, Defensive Player of the Year. I have no idea who's going to win that. I haven't even thought about that. But yeah, MVP, my MVP prediction is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Thank you so much for listening, y'all. As always, leave me a comment, leave me a review. I love it when you guys like engage with me on the YouTubes and the Instagrams and the Apple Podcasts and the Spotifys. I love it when you guys engage with me. So, and also, I should have said this at the beginning, but I'm trying to put out one podcast a day. I'm trying to put out like just something, just like air out my thoughts. I'm trying to put out one of these a day because Joe Rogan is a really big inspiration for me, and like just seeing like how big and how huge his network has become, and like he puts out a podcast every weekday, and granted he's going for 2 to 3 hours, and my podcasts are like 20 to 45 minutes, but with that being said, I'm just trying to follow in his footsteps and at least set a base for what I'm trying to do in the future. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do one of these a day, and we'll see how it works out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Peace out.